here
Hello.
we are. G'day,
Hey.
Pastoralhare.
OddRev.
I have missed you. I've been on holidays, but I have really missed being here. So it was really
I have
great.
really missed you being here. Also, as I was saying before, for those who are playing along at home, OddRev and their fam have been away on holidays. And I keep on wondering where they are. So I go to look on my phone on the Find My Friends app, and I was like, I don't know why I feel like I can track you. So I feel like I've been really missing you and your whole fam because I've been wondering where you are. So I'm glad you're back. Hello.
Well, we've been on Warramai country. It's been fabulous to be up in the Hunter Valley, north of Newcastle. I got a great visit with Mum and Dad. Got to go swimming every morning. Even got into the surf beach for a bit. We went and visited with some koalas and saw them at the koala hospital. And so thank you to the Warramai people for having us on your country. But now I'm back on Wathaurong country. And as always, we begin with an acknowledgement of country. Pastoralhare, where are you broadcasting from?
I am tuning in from Wurundjeri country, just near Naarm, so on Woiwurrung land. I think particularly we're entering into Holy Week. It is a sacred time that we're coming in as people who call themselves Christian, or even people who align with the Christian story, or even our Passover space. There are elements that we touch over into that culture and that story. And so as we do that, it's important to touch on the stories that have been walked here for eons of time. So I just want to pay my respects to the Wurundjeri people who still cultivate this land and this place today.
It's a remarkable thing to tap into the stories of a land that we're in, and so I really encourage you, if you've not done so before, to get in there. And actually, everything's at our fingertips these days. Digitally, you can find out lots of information about the stories of the land where you are, and it teaches you what to celebrate, to give thanks for, what to confess, and to repent from. And so there is so much to be gained by hearing and learning the stories.
Absolutely. Well, before we kick off tonight, I just want to give a two-prong thing. One is
two-prong thing.
We're going to be doing some storytelling tonight. So we've got some good liturgy. We got some good story. We got some good prompts, things for you to participate in. And one of those things to participate in is communion. And part of the Uniting Church tradition, even though we don't speak on behalf of, we are still in line with that community, is that we practice an open table. So everybody is allowed to participate at communion. It is Christ's table, not our own. So feel free to grab your elements to have them ready, something edible and something drinkable.
So I've got a hot cross bun.
What do you know?
Oh, look at that. We both have some fruity Jesus this evening, so that's really good. So we'll look forward to that. And I've got a nice glass of wine
I went traditional too. I also have a glass of wine.
I've got Durif, which is a really nice glass of wine. So really good.
That is good. A nice Jesus happening.
We encourage
grab those elements.
You can get whatever you want. If you've got pizza, if you've got bread, if you've got donuts, if you've got whatever, you can. It's whatever you want to use as the symbolism this evening for your elements. Please feel free to that, because this is symbolic. This is an opportunity for us. And originally, the story would have been told with the staples of the day. So
absolutely,
whatever's your staple, go for it. And likewise with your wine as well.
Purple Pastor would first like to acknowledge that that wasn't shared at the moment. So when communion comes, I think there's a time for sharing the elements within the household. My papa would be very happy.
Absolutely.
Yes. Beautiful. Well, I just thought I'd touch base on that so you guys can get ready. Maybe if you have a candle or something near you, that might be a good option to light. Other than that, feel free to partake in this place with us as we enter into the story.
And there will be opportunities for you to engage in the chat, and feel free to do that as many times as you want to.
Oh, yeah.
Or not at all. If you don't feel moved to do that, then you don't need to. And if you've got other things you want to chat about, as always, we welcome activity in the chat. It's always wonderful.
Jump it in, write it in. Let's see if we can incorporate it.
It's an experiment tonight, so it's going to be a little more scripted than usual, but we're going to try and keep our own natural style as well. So we've done some really great work in actually pulling together a bit of a liturgy for this evening.
Yeah, we're excited.
We've never done this is a first. We've never done anything like this before on Sonderverse, so this is the first time we've tested this out. So
buckle in.
Very good. All right. Well, should we get started? Good.
Yeah,
let's get started.
Well,
and there'll be all your regular segments. So we'll get to the have you been paying attention and your Dixit Divina and your twitching to know. So, but welcome, beloved wanderers, to the Sonderverse tonight. We gather at the table of love. The night Jesus knelt, broke bread, and washed the tired dust cake feet of his friends. It's Maundy Monday. And a night, and usually this will be done on a Thursday, but we're going to Maundy Monday, a night of memory, mercy, and movement. So here is your sacred system update. You can wash your digital footprints, clear your cache, release your cookies, and refresh your algorithms so that you may see anew. You may be renewed. Tonight, because tonight is more than about clean feet, it's also about cleared hearts. It's about deleting shame files, logging off your regrets, refreshing your feed of your soul to follow love's greatest post.
And so this kind of love is not one that tracks our clicks, and it doesn't need data of who we are. You already are followed and already are friended, and you're already forgiven. So open yourself up just how you would a browser tab and let this night of divine refreshing begin. Perhaps you might want to light a candle or maybe take a deep breath, but let's take some time to plug in with purpose and begin. So during the reading tonight, we invite you to participate in our digital foot washing. And as you feel led, you can type into the chat. And at the same time, we are going to be offering our feet and our hands and our hearts that are worn from the road.
So let's wash one another, not with water, but with presence, not with towels, but with tendons. The instructions for how you can participate in chat are going to be next to us on the screen as we do this. This next part. As you can see, feel free to type in the name of someone or in the chat, or someone that you're thinking deeply about, followed by the blessing: you are seen, you are loved, your feet are clean. So an example would be Tim Packful, our wonderful producer for tonight. You are seen, you are loved, your feet are clean. And you can type that in. As you can see, Pastoralhare has demonstrated that in the chat for us just now.
Yeah.
So let's get to this reading for tonight, which we'll be doing in a narrative storytelling style. Let us yes. So yep. Go Pastoralhare.
Well, we are going to be doing our scripture reading. So we are looking at. Oh, am I in the right spot? I am.
We'll go back one. Yep, that's it. Cool.
There we go. Yes. So type that one in. So our scripture reading is John 13 verses 1 to 17, and then 31b to 35. And so we'll be taking this in our story form for this evening. So feel free to follow along if you would like. Otherwise, I'll put the scripture in the chat as well. Otherwise, feel free to take a moment to listen as OddRev, you kick off the storyline for us.
So let us wash one another, not with water, but with presence, not with towels, but with tenderness. And so you can, as we said, type that example in. The scripture reading comes from John 13. As we've said, the story takes place just before everything changes. Jesus knew what time it was, not a clock time, but a soul time. The hour had come and Jesus knew it. Still, Jesus chose to stay present with people, with friends, with ones who would fall asleep, misunderstand, run, deny, and betray.
With the ones who would stay, who watched with wide, tear-wet eyes, the ones who anointed, followed, stood near the cross, the ones who would carry the first resurrection message, when the world still believed death had won. Jesus had loved them all every step of the way. And so Jesus stands and quietly folds the robe worn and ties a towel like an apron around their waist, grabs a basin, nothing fancy, just water, and one by one, Jesus kneels.
Jesus begins washing the disciples' feet, each of them. Yes, even Judas. Now, if you'd like to drop an emoji, if you've ever needed help and didn't know how to ask, you can do that, a drip emoji or some other emoji, just as an expression of of those experiences where you've needed help but didn't know how. Jesus moves around the room slowly, drying each foot with a towel. No spectacle, just skin and water and silence and love. And when he reaches Peter,
"You don't understand this now, but later you will."
"Jesus, you can't wash me. That's not how this goes."
"But if I don't wash your feet, you won't really be part of this with me."
"Then wash all of me, my feet, my hands, my head."
"You're already clean. Just let me do this. This moment matters."
And Jesus finishes, pulls the towel from his waist and puts on his robe and sits down again quietly. Then looking across the table at all of them, at us through time and space.
"You call me teacher, you call me liege, and you're right. But here's the thing. If I, your teacher and liege, wash your feet, then you should wash each other's. Not just the people you like, not just when it's convenient. This is the example I'm setting. Don't wait to serve. Don't wait to love. No one is too important for a towel. No one's above the bowl. You know this now, and you're blessed if you do it."
Later, after Judas had left, the room got quieter, the shadows grew longer, and Jesus spoke again.
"This is it. God's love is being poured out through me right now, all around you, through time and space. You won't be able to come with me where I'm going, but you can carry me forward. So here it is. This is what I want from you. A new commandment. Love each other. Not as the world loves, not with conditions or timelines, but love like I've loved you. In the awkwardness, in the mess, in the washing of tired feet and tired hearts. This is how the world will know that you're mine. Not by your status or posts or your polished prayers, but by your love."
And the room was quiet again, and everything was changed. So we're going to move into our usual have you been paying attention after that dramatic reading. Thank you for everybody who's participated in the conversation we've been having. That's was really a moving experience to do together. But as we're looking at this Maundy Monday reading,
Yes.
what jumps out for you, Pastoralhare, in this particular reading of the story?
I think for me, there are two things. One is this newness of reading this reading in how we've shared it today was at that very beginning when it says refresh your algorithms. I know I said to you and you're like, Pastoralhare, it's metaphorical. But that hit me. I was like, oh my goodness, like what would it mean to see the world so anew, so renewed that it would be as if all my algorithms had refreshed. And these are like perfectly curated algorithms. I'm very happy with how mine are set. But what if I actually clicked refresh? Like, what would that end up looking like? Would I see the world differently?
And I was really struck by that as I was preparing last Saturday. I was able to speak at a conference organised by the Vic Tas Synod called Inspiring. And at that we were as I was preparing for that, it became very clear to me that we're actually responsible for our algorithms. And so what comes to us is actually, I mean, a lot of people complain about what they're receiving from social media and how it's full of stuff they don't necessarily want to see. But in some ways, our algorithms are a mirror to us. And if what we're seeing in our algorithms is not what we're comfortable with or what we like, then we have the opportunity to curate. We can make some decisions. We can actually choose. We can do some searches and add things into the list that maybe weren't there before, so that we're not necessarily just been taken on a drift.
Totally.
So I found that really interesting. Like the other day, I put in a song onto Spotify that I wanted to listen to, and Spotify's algorithm will just, go, oh, what's another song like that, and put another one on. And there's always this algorithmic drift that takes you. And suddenly I'm going, I started out with indie
the rabbit hole.
Now I'm in metal, and I don't know how I got here. And so I made the decision to take myself back to where I wanted to be. so I really like that point.
Absolutely. And my second prong on that one was that the other bit that really hit me was all of a sudden we're actually really talking about like transcending time. Like I feel like we've always spoken about it for, at least however long our tradition of Maundy Thursday, or remembering that when Jesus died on the cross, it was for each of us individually. Like we say these words, but I don't know, have we been fully able to comprehend what that means before the digital revolution, before we actually have this ability to understand transcending time or liminal space or asynchronous community? This is like telling us that this has always been. We've always been a part of a community that transcends bigger than just who is in the room. And so it really hit me when the liturgy came to that part. So OddRev, you curated this storytelling really beautifully because it allowed me to see differently. So it's beautiful.
And this story of the Last Supper is like a live stream that's actually been posted, because that's what we can return to it. Like, so there are a dozen or so people who are actually here with us right now and chatting into the thing and being engaged. But between now and Easter, our numbers, if they stay the way they are, will go up to over 100 people who have actually viewed this. And so they won't have viewed it at the time or the space. So we're transcending space and time right now.
Absolutely.
Because for the people who are watching this later, they're watching it now, even though it's later than us now at this point in time. And so it's not a hard thing in a digital sense for us to get our heads around the idea that Jesus is talking to us across space and time.
Absolutely.
Seeing you and me here today while sitting at that table.
Yes. And before we move on, DavSab, I've totally seen your comment. Social media algorithms can be an echo chamber at times. And it's so true. There is almost an ability, that freedom to be able to refresh our algorithms. Like there's a nuance that you sit with, because on one hand, it's deeply controlled and there's a deep media space. So we need to call for like the good treatment of our algorithms to make sure that they're not, overrun by our media or overrun by our, random political parties or specific, I suppose, tech companies. And so on one hand, we need to actually make sure we call for that ethical space of our algorithms, through to actually realizing that we too have agency. And so how do we balance the two? Because both are important. And what would it mean if we just refreshed?
And sometimes we have to push ourselves out of where we normally are to see something different. Like one of the things that hit me in this reading tonight, as I was going through, is that we often talk about the denier and the betrayer and the people who ran away, right? But I really like the way that we were actually exploring tonight the idea that there were people who didn't run away. There were people who did stay there. There were people who were actually exercised extreme courage and great bravery by actually staying at the cross. And look, I mean, gender politics aside, most of the people who ran away were men, and the people who actually stayed around were women. And so often our bias from gender will actually only focus on what one group of people did, rather than actually recognizing that there was a full half of other disciples who were part of Jesus's movement, who actually decided that they were going to hang about and stay with Jesus right up until the end. And so that tells a very different story as well. And I think
it does.
We need that refresh. Otherwise, we keep repeating the same parts of the story, and we miss even seeing some people.
And I wonder if, OddRev, you just, that question of why is there seen as such this binary space? Of course, like biblically at this time, culturally, this idea that women weren't human. Well, like we were human, but we were not really. We didn't have our own agency. And so this idea that women were property, and so they have a very different relationship to power than men have a relationship to power. And so if all of a sudden the one who they're following, this Messiah who is going to be the savior of the world, dies, then that relationship with power is so different.
Yeah.
And so that is such a weird dynamic to play at. And I don't know, for me, I think I'm going to sit with that across this Holy Week. What does the power dynamic of Jesus dying on the cross actually challenge in society today? What does it challenge within me? And what did it challenge then? I think that's a really interesting thought to sit with for a bit.
Yeah, yep. As you say, we are on the journey towards Good Friday. So during this week, you have the opportunity, if you want to look them up, you can find that there is a reading for each week of this week that tells the story. And it's a bit of a travelogue. Jesus stayed out of town at Bethany and then went into town and then came out. So he was staying outside of town with his friends, Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. And the different gospels have Jesus doing different things in time, and so there's a little bit of conflict of agreement, but ideally the idea is that it was a very busy week. It was
a very busy week.
It was like the week before Christmas.
Yes, it was.
Lots of shopping,
was big.
So lots of stuff to do.
Lots of family, lots of meals, lots of community. Absolutely, absolutely.
As they came towards, which is the Passover, which is the story, an ancient story of the people of that land about the liberation from slavery in Egypt. And so as we began tonight, sometimes it's actually really, it can shift and refresh our algorithm to actually hear a different set of stories. So
yes. And what does that challenge with this power? I love Dav said it will be safer to stay out of town. And Purple Pastor, location. Again, where we're located, literally in the story, or even following along the story, or thinking about what our First Nations peoples read within the story, OddRev. I think that's actually a really interesting thought. How would they relate, or how would anyone in this context relate based on where they're located? I think it's so interesting.
And we don't know exactly what it would have been like. We can, read into some history around what the Roman Empire was as an occupying force and those kind of things. And we can begin to go, actually, just like today, Jesus and the disciples would have had to pass through multiple checkpoints where soldiers would have questioned them about their coming and going. And today, as we think about this part of the world, there are checkpoints as people are actually having to answer questions about their coming and their going. And there's no guarantee that they'll be allowed to pass through those checkpoints or get back out at the end of the day. And so there's a great deal of risk in that traveling today. And I can imagine with the Roman Empire having occupied Israel at that point in time, that there would have been that large risk as well. We kind of think about it like, they hopped on a train and they went to the Easter show and they came back again. Like but there was a lot more going on in terms of politics at that time as there is now in that part of the world.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I don't know if there was anything else that stood out for you, OddRev, in that reading. I always find it an interesting one because we do it. I feel like with our Easter stories and our Christmas stories, these ones that we come back to every year, they're part of our pilgrimage, part of our space to reflect. And we're taken through this humanness of Jesus the whole way through the divinity every single year. And I feel like there's a part of me that goes, these stories are old. Like, I know what happens. Well, there's a flip side of it where I'm like, this is only the 35th time that I've been through it. Like, it's actually, we're not told that many times. Like, we're only told if it happens once a year. Surely there are 35 things. That's if I was, a cognizant child. Are there things that I've found in here that refresh and renew? Are there things that allow me to come to this story differently each year? And I find it powerful to think like that. So what would that look like to intentionally refresh that into our Easter story this year?
And especially if we take seriously the idea that there are no NPCs, that everybody is a player character, that there are hundreds of figures, of players, of PCs in this story. Too many to actually cover in each Easter. Whether we're talking about the tourist who was actually forced to carry Jesus' cross some of the way, or whether we're talking about Jesus's family, his brothers and his mother who were there. The moment we take on a different perspective and curate our algorithm in relation to what they see, we actually find ourselves in a different place. We encourage you strongly here at Sonderverse to do Good Friday in your local context. Find a place to go and be a part of Good Friday. That can be your own place. Invite some friends over. I know I'll be inviting some friends over, and we'll be watching Jesus Christ Superstar, a number of those, as well as I have an annual tradition of watching Leno and Woodley's Christmas special, which is an absolutely fantastic version of the Christmas. Easter special, which is an absolutely fantastic version of the Easter story. So worth a watch.
Quite frankly, I think that's a great idea.
Oh, you dropped the wood, Pastoralhare. You dropped the
That's
wood.
so ironic, because now my last name's Woods. Did I drop the wood? Oh, that was too good. Oh, that was not planned.
That works really well.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. That was good.
So yes, we'll be back next Monday, but by the time we get back to us next Monday, we'll have passed through the Easter weekend, and we'll be looking at the Easter story retrospectively, and we'll be picking up on the story of the walk to Emmaus. So that'll be really interesting for us to be looking predictively at this point in time forward on this Monday, and then looking back on Easter next Monday. So I think that will give us a different kind of algorithm set up as well. So
I think so. I think that could be good. Absolutely. Yes, I was just going to say, Purple Pastor mentioned, depending on what lectionary reading that we're in, so what gospel we come from, changes the perspective of the story. And so we got so many lenses and layers happening here. Like, it's very cool. But yeah, surely that should allow us to enter it differently each time. So
new and fresh. Yep. New and
fresh. Yes. Well, I read here that it says communion.
Yes, we're going to engage in communion now. So communion, the story of communion is actually part of this week. Do you want to tell us a bit about why it's actually connected to this week?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it's 1 Corinthians. You can go look up 1 Corinthians chapter 10 or chapter 11. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, fill it in the chat. But when we come to Passover, so it's this meal that's shared as entered into Passover. And so Jesus shared it with his friends, and it's a traditional space, this traditional setting. And so it relates all the way back through to when bread was presented in the tabernacle and in the tents. So it's a story that's been pulled through here. And at this moment at Passover, Jesus breaks bread and holds up a glass of wine. No, Jesus sits there with very common food items and says, this is me. This is my body broken for you. And this is my blood poured out and shed for you. And so whenever you eat and drink of this, take this time to remember me. And so it's this really powerful space, this very common practice at a very specific sacred time for our Jewish community. At that moment, they're asked to recall who Jesus is, and Jesus writes himself quite literally into this tradition, into this story, and really fulfills this messianic promise. So it's actually a really powerful part of the story.
And here's Da Vinci's Jesus doing it online with his Zoom friends. There we got all of the disciples, or some of the disciples, tuning in on Zoom, and Jesus at the table by himself. When we were back in COVID, there was a big discussion about whether or not we could actually have communion in a digital space.
Yes.
And yet here we like the whole concept, as we've talked about today, digital and these kinds of spaces transcend time and space in the same way that communion does. And so it certainly does give us the capacity to do that. So look, now's the opportunity. If you need to run and get your elements, get something. If you've got nothing, that's okay, because symbolically you can actually break nothing and you can drink nothing, and that can be as powerful as well.
Absolutely.
So
we got some hearty rye going on. We got some fruity hot crust buns.
Let us know what you've gathered. Yep.
Done communion, and it was a very big challenge for me, but I had once done it with sour cream and chives grain waves, and for some reason that was a struggle. So so I think that if there's something in your pantry that you feel could not be communion, I challenge you to say that even Christ can enter the weirdest part, the weirdest of your places. Communion element.
Absolutely.
So yeah, absolutely.
So we begin the story of communion with being at peace, and so let's begin with that peace. Pastoralhare.
Yes. So Christ is our peace, not just between nation or neighbors, but between our usernames, in our DMs, in our comment threads. And he breaks down every wall between shame and grace, between silence and belonging. And so the peace of the Christ always be with you, OddRev, and those within our stream.
and also with you. And you can tag someone in chat if you want to and say peace be with you to them, or if you'd just like to put up an emoji which represents peace that you can find, then feel free to do that.
You are
as you
hitting
go
my COVID happiness. I would always put that little dove. Yes, peace be with you to Purple Pastor, Dab Sav, Chris Booth, Circuit Rider, Timpactful. I'm going to say Norel, I assume you're also on here tonight, and all those others who are tuning in our stream who I don't know the name of, who are watching in the background. Peace be with you.
Absolutely. So God isn't waiting for you in some cathedral or mountaintop. God is already here on your screen, in your scuffed mug and stale cracker. This is the table that refuses to stay in one place. It jumps the firewall. It shows up in your kitchen and on your phone and on your couch. So together, well, let us come together this evening. The Lord be with you.
And also with you. Lift up your hearts. Yes, even your tired, messy, hopeful ones.
We lift them to the Lord. Let us give thanks to God who codes galaxies and brews grace.
It is right to give our thanks and praise. So, the story of the table. So, Holy Creator, from the raw data of the cosmos, you shaped community. From soil and stars, you made us. From silence, you spoke love. And when we logged off and ran, you came to us in Jesus, who knelt, who wept, who washed feet, and who said, stay.
On the night the world trembled, Jesus didn't run, Jesus logged in. Jesus picked up the bread and gave thanks and broke it and said, this is my body broken for you. Eat it and remember me. If you'd like to break what you've got with you there, then feel free to do that at this point in time. And then Jesus took the cup full of new beginnings and said, this is my blood poured out for each of you and for all, a new connection, a forever covenant. Drink and remember me.
So here we are, wherever here is. Bring what you have, toast, tea, rye bread, rice crackers, ribena, wine, nothing. This moment is holy because you showed up, and God meets us right where we are. So when you're ready, you can type in I remember and eat into the chat, and then type connected by love and drink. And so we'll just take a moment to have those times together to eat and to drink with one another. And even if you come through later on in our chat, this is the time where we eat and drink with our whole community of Christ followers.
You know what's funny? Sometimes when we're in church, this is a very quiet moment. You've got to kind of reverentially just try not to chew too loudly or swallow loudly. But this dinner, this table, they would have been eating, buzzing, talking, sharing, talking about, hey, I can't believe that donkey was where Jesus said it was.
All two of them.
No. Oh,
yeah, absolutely. No, I love that. I love this thread of being connected by love. How beautiful. So generous God, with all of these memories and all of this connection through love, you've made a live stream into a sanctuary. You've made emojis into liturgy. You've made us into a people. You've fed us with the bread of connection and renewed us for whatever comes next. Send us now into our chats and our chores and our chaos to serve with joy, to love without filters, and to remember that even here you are. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you guys so much. That was beautiful. And I loved doing that with my community. So thank you so much. That was lovely.
So we're going to continue on as part of our worship, and remembering that even though it may not feel like it at times, that what we do here on OddSonder is
Sunday. I still love it.
Sunday, an act of worship. It's an opportunity for us to engage in the stories of our faith, to share, to tell, to care for one another. And so even though our prayers don't begin with "Dear God" and they don't end with "Amen" often, and even though we may not sing songs, although we do sometimes,
you have me in the background.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
That our purpose for gathering here is to actually gather in a sacred space together. So I appreciate you gathering with us this way this evening. We are going to move on now to the next part, which is usually our intercessory kind of part, which is Dixit Divina, remembering that deceit,
the utterance.
The utterance of God,
of the divine.
Yes. So let us see what we might find in our utterance this evening.
Ooh.
As
always, OddRev, we don't pick things ahead of time; they pick us. Oh wow!
So feel free to type in the Deceit Divina image will be in the Discord chat under Deceit Divina. There'll be an opportunity for you to explore and share what you've seen and what you've heard.
Yeah.
I got a chance this afternoon to have a look back at last week's show, and I got to check out the Deceit Divina from last week, and I typed a couple of bits and pieces in. So we really invite you to type a couple of words in there, just something that jumps out at you, something that that you gain from, and to allow it to lead you into prayer, to actually say, perhaps this Deceit Divina is a way of resetting our algorithm, refreshing our cookies. So
absolutely, it's very tinker. I love my D&D. I can see an artificer here. It's very tinkery. So, yeah.
I mean, I was fascinated when I first saw this one that there seemed to be two pathways forward for the person who's trying to decide which one is the best one. So that's just one example of what I started to reflect on.
And I also love this as well. Tim Packle has written a great, caption for this one is "ahead of time." But also, I'm like, well, it's before time. What about in between? Like, you can actually, depending on where you view yourself at this fork in the road, maybe that could be
no way. That's right. There is no wrong way to do this. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I wonder if that could be a moment to take some time in your prayers for others in the world this week to view yourself in this image at each time moment, before, between, after. What would that look like with your prayers? So that could be quite interesting. Looking back. Yeah, wow. But you can also be aware of the future. There's something prophetic about it. That's really beautiful.
If you're looking for some music after we've finished today, or even now, you could play it in the background of when you're listening to us. Purple Pastor has provided us with a YouTube, so you can have a listen to that in your own time. And we might even put that up. I did notice
being immersed in time. Wow, yes.
Notice Pastoralhare that I couldn't find the Abide channel in the list this week. So I think there's been a bit of a reshuffle, but I couldn't see it there.
It's just under Deceit Divina channel.
Okay. Yep. So that is our new Abide place. Is that right?
Yes. And Tim Packle has already posted the Dixit card into our Dixit Divina channel. So feel free, all these beautiful comments. Part of me is just wanting to copy and paste all of our comments into it, because why not? What a beautiful, let me do that. I'm going to copy and paste all of these into our channel so we don't lose them, because I think that's beautiful. Oh, hang on.
Absolutely.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to do it in all its chaos. There's a link to that song that Purple Pastor you've written in there as well. So
very good.
Feel free to jump onto our Discord server and to hunt that out in our Dixit Divina channel.
Absolutely. So that's Deceit Divina. You've got all week to play around with that. May this be a week, a holy week of prayer as you move through this week and think about the story that we are going through.
Yes, absolutely. So before we clock off for this evening, I just want to do two things. I think I did it last time.
We've got a couple of twitching to know. Yeah,
we got twitching to know. So in our announcements channel on the Discord server, there's a bunch of stuff that we've spoken about that's got all the dates in there. So feel free to jump onto there to find the specific dates. But OmegaCon is happening May 31 at Geelong West Neighbourhood House. So please, that's a day, $10 for the whole day.
There is a graphic for that. We've got a graphic coming up, I think, for OmegaCon.
Coming up.
So you
love it.
you can get your phone like this, and you
Nice.
can do your little scanny bit there, and that will take you straight to tickets, and you can actually purchase your tickets straight away. So feel free to do that. $10 for the whole day. It's a bargain, a whole day's worth of gaming.
It
But
is
as
a
well as that,
bargain.
if you happen to be in Geelong or near enough to get to Geelong, for the next few months and the months afterwards, the Geelong West Neighbourhood House is actually making itself available for Friday night games. And so we had one just last week on the 11th. I was
Nice.
away,
Amazing.
but Tim Packful and Ryan were there, and they had a really good time. And I believe there were about a dozen people who were a part of that. And so we're getting a couple of little preview sessions. And it's quite likely that'll become an ongoing thing.
That's so good.
The Geelong West Neighbourhood House has become very excited about games. So
thank goodness, because we're excited about games. So this is a matchy. The other thing to talk about games, two things off there is Chris Booth has reminded us that there is a sports day happening on Easter Monday. So I popped the details in the chat there for you. If you happen to be down in that area of Melbourne, or if you want to travel, it is from 10 till 4 at the Greythorn Park in Balwyn North. And you can contact Pastor Nia. Her number's there. That should be fine to contact her on.
Very exciting.
Yes, that should be good. And we have things for nerds and jocks.
That's right.
Chris Booth just wants us to note that Chris is a jock.
I misread that. I thought that said we have things for nerds in jocks, but you know.
I also read the S on the end and got the giggles. I went, Kelly.
That might be a problem I have with my algorithm.
No, it's Superman. It's not your fault. Your action figures wear their underpants on the outside.
On the outside.
But the other thing is State Youth Games is happening, and there is a team happening with Uniting Church. State Youth Games has it's for grade 7 and up. So all of you young adults, you're in. All of you parents, you're also in. They have open games as well. There is things all the way from dodgeball through to ultimate frisbee, which I have a love-hate relationship because that is how I broke my back. But there is also esports and dodgeball and chess and things like that. So there is a bunch of stuff to play, and even an arts creativity thing. We currently have about 25 people signed up, and early bird only finished a week ago. So there's still a little while to sign up, and all the details are in the Discord server for you.
Fantastic. That sounds like a really exciting time as well. So there's so much going on, but if that wasn't enough, then we've actually got PAX coming up as well. And we've got some really exciting news about PAX.
We do have exciting news. I think I found out our name for our PAX section.
Oh, cool.
It's called Nords and Jerks. No. Sorry, that just made me laugh so much. That was so good, guys. I love that. So we're excited because South Melbourne Uniting, bless their hearts, has let us come and use their space. So we're going to be jumping in the studio hall and being able to create that as our little touchstone space throughout the whole weekend that we can sleep at, we can walk to from, we can make sure that all of our stuff is there and ready to go. We'll have people who are there looking after our things, as well as people who are at, I know, OddRev, you've got a base at PAX. So there'll always be options. So we will have, if you have your PAX badges, we will then also have another link for you to sign up and register so that you can actually have a space to stay across that weekend as well. So we'll get that going for you.
I think it'd be good. We can have that register like with the option to stay at the hall to let us know that you're coming if you're not staying with us at all, or to let us know. So I think it'd be really good to actually get a list of who's going. So
absolutely.
And look, I think if you were looking for a 3-day pass as an early bird, then that's passed, so you can't do that anymore. But I think there are still a few 3-day passes left, or you can do what Tim Packful did last year and buy a pass for each day. And look, if you can't afford the time of the whole weekend,
come chat to us.
Then come chat to us. The other way you could get to go there is that we will be giving away one PAX pass at a MegaCon. So
we have a PAX pass giveaway happening at a MegaCon.
3-day pass at a MegaCon.
For $10 at a MegaCon.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Just be there, and we will let you know closer to the date what you have to do to get that pass. So
if it is an option to buy each day individually, but Tim Packful says, don't be me. Don't do that. So that is worst case scenario. You can come in and just pick a 1-day badge to come along, but jump on now. Finance is an issue. Chat to us. We would love to get you there, especially a part of our sacred space that we have happening alongside it.
And look, if you've never been before and you want to just check out the vibe, then Sunday afternoon is actually, it's quite often easier to get badges on a Sunday afternoon. And Sunday afternoon is pretty quiet. And so come along on a Sunday, you can check out what it looks like. And then if you're like me, then you'll want to go back and have the full experience.
Absolutely.
At the end of it.
We're being told not to cosplay as Tim Pactful. However, if you do, Tim Pactful supported a great purple mohawk in their earlier years.
Yes, so there was a picture, wasn't there? Yeah, that's right.
Is circa Tim Pactful, circa, what was it, 2007? I think is an apt cosplay. I think that is very fine. Purple mohawk, we're in. So yes, that's a fine year to cosplay. So
we're going to work on having our new Sonderverse, so you can see them. Where is it? I'm pointing in the wrong direction. I can't get it right.
Stunker.
So you can see the logo up there. They are sold out. So, but we will have that little icon, and we'll have that set up in some kind of flag or spot thing, and it'll be up high enough to be able to see it. So come and hang out with us.
Oh my gosh, they're actually little locations. I can put them on headbands. Yep. They could be little Sims things.
Oh, we could. We could.
That'd be cute as heck.
That'd be great. That'd be good. Come and get a quest. It'll confuse at PAX. There's actually an ongoing game. And
I'm not upset about that. We can set people on sacred quests.
We could send them on quests. Yeah.
Watch this space. You've now just unlocked a very dangerous rabbit hole that PAX people did not know they were in for.
Now, Pastoralhare, are there any other announcements? Any other twitching to know bits and pieces?
Twitching to know pieces. No, I think jump into the chat. Oh, hang on. That is a lie. In a couple of weeks, there is Sacred Edge happening down in Queenscliff.
Sacred Edge, of course there is, yes.
And why we're saying this is, one, I'm actually running a session. So if people were curious about my life of moss that I love living, then you can come into a session and create some moss with me. And do some artistic embroidery or felting or things like that, and have some time just to sit and journey with moss and the sacredness that is this weird, wonderful thing that holds our entire microbiome of the earth together. The other thing is that the rest of the Sonderverse team theoretically is also going to be there because we're going to be broadcasting and sharing again. I'm so glad they invited us back.
Yep. So you'll get to see some really good clips and voxes and other bits and pieces right here on the Sonderverse channel, and be able to catch up. We'll do little interviews like we did last year. So if you can't make it there in person, then you can catch a glimpse of it. But if you can get down and join us there, then that would be fantastic as well. Yep. So Sacred Edge at Queenscliff.
Absolutely. So that's it. Other than that, there should be in the announcements channel. But you have things to update us on.
I just wanted to share. I just had the most relaxing holiday, and I got to do a whole bunch of really cool stuff. So I've got some pictures. I can't remember what order they're in. But, no, that's not one of them.
You were so relaxing. You decided to go as Tim Pactful the whole time.
No, that's me cosplaying as Tim Pactful. There we go, with the purple mohawk. No, it's not. We went and saw the Minecraft movie. If you've got the opportunity to go see it, it is an amazing movie. It is so fantastic to see some Jack Black, Jason Momoa pair up action.
Nice.
They really get close in this movie, so it's worth checking it out from that perspective. But also, there were just so many fantastic Minecraft Easter eggs, and I wanted to share that because we will be getting into some more Minecraft later on in the year. During the winter, there'll be a bit more Minecraft happening.
We have Messy Miners happening as well.
Yeah. And look, I came out of the movie and I got back into my Minecraft account and I started playing a bit more Minecraft and enjoying that. So
good. I'm glad. I love Minecraft.
So it's worth having a look at. So that was really good. So we went and saw that, had lots of fun. What else did we do? I had so much fun at the beach.
Did you fall?
I leapt. That's a leap. That is a standing leap.
That's a leap for mankind.
But look behind me, there was the most amazing rainbow. That's beautiful. It was just so vibrant. And what was really funny was that side of the sky was all dark and grey, but the other side of the sky was all blue and and clear, and so you can see the sun shining on the beach behind me.
I love that.
And so I just had to leap for joy at such a fantastic demonstration of the promise of God to love us all. So it was wonderful. And then the highlight, there were lots of highlights, but one of the highlights for me was I got to go to the live recording of Filthy Hope with Jonty and Rev Ness. Jonty we've had on before, Rev Ness we're having on soon. I managed to pick up their merch, which is really good. And I've got their tagline is faith as punk as hell. If you haven't listened to Filthy Hope, then check them out. Check them out. And it was just it was really cool. It was like meeting celebrities. It's funny when you meet a podcaster that you've been listening to for such a long time in person. And I've even had Jonty on my own podcast a couple of times, but this is the first time I ever met them. So it was really good to do that. So
I also was up in New South Wales across the weekend. And I just had to allow the fact that apparently filthy is a banned word on our chat stream. So I had to say yes, you can write that in there.
Wait till I tell them that they've been moderated.
Apparently nods and jerks is fine, but filthy hope is not. So but yes, so I was up there and I constantly drive past Tarramara and I constantly am reminded of Filthy Hope because Jonty has a connection with Tarramara Uniting. So anyway, that was my little, I think about them often. So I'm so glad you got to meet them in person. I'm a bit jelly, but that's okay. Didn't realize how tall Jonty was.
I'm a bit low there, so I was.
Okay.
Because But anyway,
you're tall.
Yeah. I have a tendency to actually shrink myself a little bit. So, but look, one of the things that was really significant for me too, I had this massive case of nostalgia because they were at Borkham Hills Uniting Church, and Borkham Hills Uniting Church is where, when I was going through theological college, I preached my first sermon at Borkham Hills Uniting Church. And so it was really interesting to go back there.
That's so funny. That's cool.
And to see it again. So it was good. So that was wonderful. I think that's all I want to share about my holiday. So thank you so much for giving me such a break. And I did post on socials a thanks to all the people who just took care of everything I normally do, so I could just go away and just.
Gotta be honest, we wouldn't be able to do it without our producers.
So it was good. Yeah. Incredible.
So seriously,
producers.
Tim Packbull, thank you for producing this night. But also, we have a whole production team.
We do.
So
now.
Purple Pastor, Circuit Rider. We've also got. What's Abby's handle?
I don't think Abby's got a handle yet. So we'll
Abby,
have to find out.
Welcome. Nods and jerks. No, we'll find a great one for Abby. But Abby's going to be jumping on our team as well, and we can't wait to have them in our chat and hanging and producing with us with the rest of the team. So thank you all. It's great to be able to do that because it gives OddRev and Purple Pastor a good chance to breathe and try and fit into a selfie in front of a Minecraft movie poster.
And we're expanding the host team as well, so really great to have Broadscat on while I was away. And we'll be looking for other hosts as well. So if you would like to be a host, or you know somebody who would like to be a host, DM us. We'll let us know. Yeah, absolutely. If you've got a recommendation for somebody we should hit up, then let us know.
Yes.
We'll hunt them down.
Absolutely. In a nice kind of way. We'll hunt them nicely.
In a nice way.
Nicely. Yes.
We will pursue them.
I was going to say, lovingly. And then all of a sudden they appear on the screen, and their screen is like busted. Hello, welcome to we'll find them. I think that's a great time.
They'll have help me written on the inside of their eyelids as they blink to let us know that they need to be rescued.
Yes. Oh, bless. Anyway, thank you all so much for hanging with us and taking the journey of our liturgical Maundy Monday. Loved it, and we will
see you next week for the road to Emmaus. That's the after story. Yeah,
the after story. That's the prequel. Anyway, all right, we'll see you guys later.
Catch you later. Bye for now.
Goodbye.